If you are a man of devotion and you want to experience greater intimacy with your wife or girlfriend, this is for you. So I am really excited to dive in with this with you guys today because this is something that I've been coming across a lot in my private work. And there's so many different subtleties and nuances in this. I think there's a lot of study right now in certainly in the personal development world and in the coaching world around polarity, dynamics between men and women. And today I really just want to dive into um, how the energetics of safety, of providing a container, a relationship as a man, and providing the mental, emotional, spiritual, physical safety and well-being is going to dramatically deepen your intimacy. Now, we most of us understand that this on a sort of fundamental level of that women desire to feel protected by a man, and this is instinctual back to living in a cave and being vulnerable, having a baby, being needed to be protected from wild animals, from the elements, as well as the need to be provided for in that vulnerable state, which is, though we may not take it into account, there seems to be, in fact, almost like um, in the sort of mainstream culture around dating, relationships, sexuality, there seems to be almost this like ignoring the fact that that is how we procreate, and that is how we like ensure the legacy of our offspring. But when you are in a relationship and you understand that these elements of protection and provision, not just in a, we're not living in a cave, so the chances are that you're going to be arriving at a situation where you actually need to physically protect your wife or girlfriend or children is pretty rare, although it may happen. But the energetics of that protection is still really important. And in relationships, men protect women in three different ways. And not, this isn't only relevant to relationships that are romantic, but also any relationship between men and women, essentially. And in fact, it is relevant also to like how women relate to their children. So you'll see yourself in different ways um, in this dynamic. So, but to keep it focused on the devoted man, which is what I want to do today, there are three ways that the devoted man provides protection. And one is from external danger. So this being, the example, of course, being like the street fight or the, dangerous wild animal, or a passing car, or even from like the cold, for example, like it's the very stereotypical giving her your jacket kind of example. So this is one way that men protect women or provide protection, is in a physical sense. Another way that men protect women is from themselves. So, men and women aren't really meant to spend tons and tons of time together, or like every waking moment. We are very different creatures with different needs. And men actually need time where they are doing their own thing and being able to come into interaction with women when we're like basically two different species, does require a certain awareness of what's going to happen there. And so the second way that men protect women from themselves is by not being there when they're like, if he's not able to if he's not in a good headspace, for example, he'll protect her from that. If he's not in a good headspace, if he's not, uh, if he's like needing to sort something out. So the other way that he protects her is not by burdening her with his problems, with his worries, with his concerns, because not that those can't be shared, but always shared in a way that is not the energy of I'm burdening you with this problem. I need you to fix it. I need you to help me fix it. Never like that, because that is not protecting her well-being. And of course, like modern culture is going to argue against this, that men and women are the same and all the story. But what happens in that example of, if he is like not protecting her from like his own worries and burdens, his problems then become hers. She takes on a caregiving role, and essentially steps out of her role, her feminine radiance, and steps into the role of like holding this masculine pull of like, oh, now I'm worried, and now I'm going to protect you from your problems, or protect you from your worries, or protect you from your emotional concerns. And I'm not saying don't ever share anything at all. That's not at all what I mean. But understanding that energetically, if you are bringing your burdens and worries in a way to your wife or girlfriend, to your partner, in a way that is energetically burdening her, or that she's taking them on, a part of her is going to shut off, and neither of you will have access to that part of her. And for sure, she may be excellent problem solver. She might be black belt problem solver. But if you're bringing that in your relationship dynamics, she's then shifting into that role, and she's not in the feeling completely protected energy, and she's also not then able to fully receive you. And this is something that is very nuanced, but it's something that I see a lot, and it can be really subtle, but it's something to pay attention to, because it can be very burdensome, and it can like make her feel very heavy and distant, even, can show up in different ways. The third way that he protects her is actually from herself. And that is simply by us like leading her out of interacting in a way. We all have this, very few people want to talk about like toxic femininity, but it exists, and we all have it in varying degrees of healing and not. We all have, I won't even call it toxic femininity, but we all have the storms and chaos that lives, that's very natural part of womanhood. And it's very, as women come closer back to their hearts and allow themselves to feel everything that they haven't been feeling their whole lives, or even not, even if they have been feeling everything their whole lives, there's a whole emotional realm, that a realm of feelings that women live in very easily, and it's chaotic. It's like water, right? Like it's like the ocean. Sometimes the ocean is calm and you could see all the way to the bottom, and it's just like beautiful, easy swimming. And sometimes the ocean is like waves crashing and pummeling you into the sand. Sometimes the ocean is a full-on whirlpool. So understanding that her emotions are like this storm, and that you protect her and yourself and the relationship by knowing how to manage those storms, knowing how to be present and calm and guiding. And these three different ways, from that like physical protection to protecting her from you, protecting her from herself, are all going to show up in, again, very nuanced and subtle ways. But the more that this is a natural element in your relationship, the deeper your intimate connection is going to be. So you will start, as you dive into this and explore this more thoroughly for yourself, what you'll notice is that as a man, when you are in that protective role with a woman who you care about, it doesn't necessarily have to be romantic, like I said, it could be your sister or your mom or your daughter. Um, you will notice that when you stand firmly in that protective role, um, you will see that she begins to transform in your presence, because when women are completely relaxed, which is not only about you, it's also like things that need to happen that she needs to do on her end, right? But when women are completely relaxed in their nervous systems and regulated in their nervous systems, when they feel themselves relaxing in your presence, feeling more relaxed in your presence than, say, when they're alone or when they're with others, what happens is they begin to feel trust towards you, and all the sort of armor and walls begins to melt away. And then underneath that, her heart is open, and her heart is open to receiving all of you. And this is ultimately what men and women want to experience in a relationship, is that her heart is fully open to receiving all of you, and you are providing this protective frame that allows that to happen. And so this is like the dance that happens, and it's ever evolving. It's not like you get there once and then it stops happening. It's like an orgasm. Like, you're gonna do that once, you're gonna want to keep doing it. It's not like a one-time thing. And as you begin to explore this deepening into intimacy and noticing how you can hold that frame more consistently and more like just embodied, for one thing, it's also going to feel very natural for you as a man. And stepping outside of that will feel unnatural, and this is where I really believe that men need brothers, or brotherhood, friends who are brothers in their lives, so that they have someone who, if they really need to, like, if they're carrying a heavy burden, that they can share that. Again, like, not that they're never going to share that with their wife or girlfriend, but in a way that is, if you're sharing that with your brother or your close man friend, he's going to be able to actually meet you in a way that is very different from having your wife or girlfriend step into that masculine energy to hold that frame for you, to hold space for you. In modern relationships, it's very common for women to hold space. Women have become like really good at this. In fact, many women, when I first start working with women, they're like, oh yeah, but I love that. I feel so close to him when he shares all his problems with me. As their heart begins to heal and they become more in touch with their instincts, they're like, oh my gosh, that gives me the ick. That it makes me feel so heavy and disconnected, actually, and burdened, right? And that's not what you want. You do not want her to feel burdened. So as you lean into this and begin to consistently create that frame, it doesn't matter where in your relationship you are, where you begin to step into that energy of protection and provision with her, and she is then like letting all of her walls go and dropping more and more into her heart and into her body, and there's like this openness. That's where your greatest intimacy is also built. Emotional intimacy, mental intimacy, spiritual intimacy, physical intimacy, all comes from a sense of deep safety and deep knowing. So this is one piece in a puzzle. There are many pieces in this puzzle of how men and women collectively basically diminish or destroy their true potential, or the true potential of a relationship, for the depths of intimacy that is possible. And as men and women step into this and bring their instincts back online, these shifts can happen pretty rapidly. And again, like I said, the attraction will change. I've watched clients go through this. I watched women, female clients go through this. And what happens is they're like who they're attracted to actually changes, where they're no longer attracted to relationships or men or even like friendships or work environments where they are pushing themselves into this like caregiver caretaker kind of role. It's just like it becomes exhausting, even though in the past it may have provided a feeling of relevance and importance because she's been valuing herself based on her contribution in terms of like how much can I help you, which is actually very masculine energetics that has been completely normalized in our current times because most women, and at least in this part of the world, have stepped into valuing themselves based on masculine self-worth rather than feminine self-worth, which I'll say that for another time. But when that happens, that's so her attraction before she begins to heal this part is like she's attracted to being like the mom or being the savior or being the rescuer, like caretaking. And as this heals and her instincts come back online, that becomes less and less attractive, and she's much more attracted to like I said, men, relationships, even like working environments, social environments where she's not playing that role. She's not the one like protecting and planning and leading and making all the decisions and getting everybody organized, because once she comes home to that energy of her heart of like being in her own feminine energy, she's going to want to live there. And she's not going to want to step into this like, yeah, high powered, like got all my walls up and gonna go like, take names and kick ass or whatever. Like that, not that there won't be moments where she's like, yeah, I'm stepping into that energy and it's gonna be really fun for sure. But when women live there all the time, they're actually like ignoring or missing out on this whole part of themselves that longs to have room to breathe and longs to be explored. And this is the gift that men and women give each other, right? Like we have this whole realm of like mystery, the dark, we die every month. We are like, our bodies are synced up with the moon. Like we're doing crazy things. And we're very different actually from men. We give birth, we have like all these other physical differences of like, we can't grow facial hair and we have a higher percentage of body fat and we can breastfeed. Not that we need a physical lesson to this, but the thing is that the thing to keep in mind, even if you are, I'm sure if you're watching this or listening to this, you are well aware that this is like there's like a cultural push away from that right now. And even if you are quite aware of it, the levels and layers of it, of how far away we've gotten, most of us, from that realm of the feminine sacred realm that is like, it's chaos and playfulness, and her heart is like like an innocent child, really, like not innocent as in I haven't done anything bad, but innocent as in like full of wonder and full of curiosity. And this is like a natural state for women when they go into that feminine energy. And in our current culture, of course, there's a lot of situations where women are not accessing that on a regular basis, certainly not every day, and not for like long periods of time. And so it becomes a very unfamiliar place. But as women heal back into their instinctual, what I would call their instinctual feminine energy, and they start to experience that in themselves, it becomes incredibly beautiful place to be. And it becomes like, it feels like coming home. And for men who've been experiencing this in their wives and girlfriends, it's the same. And also like women in their lives, again, not romantic relationships, but any relationship where they have experienced her, whoever it is, in this very like guarded, bossy, tell you what to do, push you around, always worried about something not going right and needing to control every minute of every situation, to she's like open to receiving, and she's going with the flow, and she's like receiving you, like she's like, who are you, where are you taking me, what's the journey, and like this openness that like energetically feels amazing, because it's this gift. It's like how men and women plug in to each other to access this whole other realm that is like, it's literally like the creative um, energy of the universe that we access together by playing our different roles. And it's very much like the procreative energy, but I'm talking about the like metaphysical energy that happens. And it does actually really involve men being in this protective, provider, penetrative energy, and women being in a receiving energy. So as she begins to open her heart more, she's like in her feelings more, she's body more, it's like maybe chaotic, but he's like holding this frame steady, and he's like bringing his masculine instincts to the relationship, which the masculine instincts are there to defend, to protect, to provide, to lead. Like those instincts are so hardwired in them, and have also been undermined, in fact, shamed to a large degree. But when those instincts come back online, that's where you'll see this beautiful dynamic that happens between men and women. And the in a relationship, the depths of intimacy and safety and healing and growth and expansion that you both will experience by being in those masculine or feminine poles is limitless. Like it's not, this is where humans sort of like forget about the honeymoon period. Like that doesn't end, because it's a limitless journey. There's no end to this. There's no end to how far this can go. And this is where you build and develop true intimacy of creating this like deep safety and deep knowing with each other. And knowing is different for men and women. Like women will never fully know a man whose leadership they haven't experienced. Like they just won't. A man's leadership, starting with his self leadership, his inner leadership, his inner mastery, his mental and physical mastery of himself, mental and physical mastery in men leading to emotional mastery. When that is online and he stands deeply connected to his soul purpose, and she experiences that, she is experiencing the truest version of him. She's experiencing his leadership, and he is experiencing her receiving, and then he's experiencing her experiencing the world within this framework of his protection and his provision, right? The Cherokee have a beautiful saying about this. And this is the gift that men and women give to each other. Again, and I'll say it again, because it's so beautiful. And I know we understand it like to a degree, but what I've seen in couples where they have an amazing relationship and they have a lot of beautiful intimacy and they have, a great sex life and they get along for the most part. And there's like arguing here and there. When they begin to deepen their embodiment of these elements, their connection to each other goes through the roof. Their connection to the universe, to their own soul work, their purpose, their legacy, their children, to the people they're here to serve expands so exponentially. It is actually magic, and it doesn't just benefit them or their relationship, but everyone around them. It benefits their children, it benefits people close to them, their social circles, their communities. It allows others to remember this is possible. And it's an incredibly beautiful journey, an incredibly beautiful thing to watch. And it's, I'll say, like, it can be challenging at first for people. It feels like totally overwhelming. And sometimes in a relationship, one person is like, yeah, I want to follow this path, and the other is like, no, it doesn't appeal to me. And that often can be like a parting of ways. Not always, sometimes they work it out, but you'll know if it's for you because you'll feel it in your body. You'll feel what I'm talking about, and you're like, yes, I understand this. I am, as a man, here to lead, and I understand that this is a need. It's not like I'm not leaving room for somebody else or anything. Men need to be leaders first and foremost of themselves and their own realm, and of their lives, and of their relationships. And like this only, you do not strengthen the weak by weakening the strong. This only makes them stronger amongst each other, because men who have devotion and understand this element of intimacy that I'm talking about, but also have brotherhood and have other men in their lives who are driving them to show up and be the strongest, most capable, most emotionally online, most instinctually online, with the greatest level of mental, physical mastery version of themselves. And they have other men who are like, hey, let's go, let's do this. I got you, brother. And they are like pushing each other to excel and succeed and do better every day and work harder and face adversity and train together to face adversity. This is how brotherhood is built, right? Men are forged in the flames. Men become men through adversity, through regular adversity, not like this one time that I did this cool thing when I was 18, but regularly, and not in a way that is a negative or unhealthy stress, but in a way that is a healthy stressor, that is like, that was really freaking hard and I crushed it, or that was really freaking hard and it crushed me, and now I know where I need to train, and my brothers are going to help me do that. We are going to get together and we're going to sort this out. These are where all these understanding, like, you're only as strong as your weakest link. Also, men and women are not meant to live in like little islands. We're meant to live in community, right? And in social groups that support this, that support divine union, that support family, that support community and supporting each other. So when men have all of that, and then additionally they have this connection to the intimacy piece with their partner, and then they also are connected deeply to their purpose, their individual purpose. And not only are they connected to it, they have like clear vision, goals, desires that they are actively working towards every day, and goals that are diverse, that they feel deeply passionate about, that goals that reflect their values, their true values. You are going to find that these are the most like powerful, vibrant, able individuals and groups. These are groups of people who change humanity, who heal humanity. And when men and women work together to create this in harmony, what happens is they raise very, very happy children, thriving children, and they up level all of society. They're essentially building legacy, and creating a future for future generations that is very vibrant and strong, that has incredibly strong values and morals, and has a framework to uphold that. So it's like, you can see I'm going to go all the way down that rabbit hole, but basically this internal work that you as an individual do, that you then bring to your relationship, that then ripples out into your children, and how your children experience intimacy, and how your children normalize in their own bodies and are regulated in their own bodies and experience love in their own bodies through experiencing you loving each other in this way, where she is receiving him, she respects him, he is devoted to her and is protecting and providing for her heart. And children grow up in this, they grow up in a home where they feel relaxed, they feel at home. They feel at home in their, children to a certain age are fairly androgynous in their energy. They feel at home in that energy. They feel safe in entering into womanhood or manhood at a pace that is right for them. They feel safe in having their instincts come online because they're following someone else's blueprint, and they're not entering into adulthood with this big mess that they then have to sort out because they never experienced it. And instead they're coming into adulthood with that already online. What they're then capable of creating in this lifetime is exponentially greater than their parents, and this is how it works. This is how we evolve. This is how we create the future. This is how we form new pathways as human beings. So I wanted to share this with you guys. Let me know if this is valuable for you, or if you want to reach out and talk to me about your own individual relationship to yourself, relationship to men and women. Send me a message and let's talk. I'd love to hear what's going on for you.